Mutualism is a type of interaction between two organisms where both the partners are benefited. And different types of examples for mutualism are, the first example is lichen. You have already studied about lichens. This is an association between algae and fungi. In this partnership, the algal partner is called a phycobiome and the fungal partner is called a mycobiome. All these terms we have studied in our +1 classes. Anyway, in this association, both the partners are mutually benefited. Here algae is preparing food and give it to fungi also, and fungi helps to absorb the nutrients from the soil surface, and also algae is getting shelter in the hyphae of fungi. So in this partnership, both the partners are mutually benefited. Another example for mutualism is mycorrhiza. This is association of fungi on the roots of higher plants. Here also fungi help to absorb the nutrients from the soil surface, and fungi is getting food with the help of plants. So in this relationship also both the partners are mutually benefited. Next, a common type of mutualism that can be seen around us is plant-animal relationship. We know that the plants and animals are mutually related to each other. How they are showing the mutual relationship? Yes, plants need animals in order to complete their life cycle, because animals are the main pollinating agents. With the help of pollination, flower formation, that means the flower will turns to fruits, and in order to complete the life cycle, animals are compulsory. And also some animals helps for the dispersal of seed. That leads to the diversity of the plant species. In this way, animals are giving help to plants. And how animals are getting benefit from plants? Yes, animals are getting benefit in the form of rewards, and they were collectively called as pollen rewards or floral rewards. And these rewards are in the form of pollen or nectar. Sometimes the rewards may be in the form of juicy, nutritious fruits. But at the same time, some animals are acting as pollen robbers or cheaters. That means they will take the nectar from the flower but without doing pollination. They are collectively called cheaters or pollen robbers. Another important topic coming under mutualism is co-evolution. So this is an evolution of some species of flower and its pollinator species. They are tightly linked with one another. This is called a co-evolution. We can explain it through an example. Here, fig tree. This ficus fig tree and its pollinator species, that is wasp, both of them are tightly linked with one another. Without fig tree, this wasp cannot complete its life cycle, and vice versa. Without wasp, fig tree also cannot complete its life cycle. So fig tree have tight one-to-one relationship with the pollinator species of wasp. How these are tightly interrelated? It means that a given fig species can be pollinated only by its partner, that is wasp species. The female wasp uses the fruit of the fig tree not only as an oviposition site, but uses the developing seed within the fruit for nourishing its larvae. The wasp pollinates the fig inflorescence while searching for suitable egg-laying sites. So here both the partners are mutually benefited. How they are mutually benefited? Here this wasp is getting the safe place for laying its egg and also consume the seed. At the same time, fig tree is get pollinated by the visit of this wasp. So in this way both the partners are mutually benefited and both of them are evolution. This way both the partners are mutually benefited and both of them are tightly linked with one another. Another important topic is sexual deceit, that is shown by Mediterranean orchid Ophrys. So in this plant Ophrys that employ this sexual deceit to get pollination, that's done by a species of bee. What is this sexual deceit? So this Mediterranean orchid, when we are observing this Mediterranean orchid Ophrys, one petal of its flower bear an uncanny resemblance to the female of the bees in size, color and the markings. So one of the petal looks like the female bee. So by seeing this, by seeing the flower, the male bee is attracted to what it perceives as a female and will do pseudo copulation. So during that time, when these male bees are attracted towards there by seeing the one of the petal and will do pseudo copulation, so during that time the pollen grains will dusted on it, dusted on the male bees. And when the same bee that pseudo copulates with the another flower, or when it visit another offers plant flower, it transfer the pollen to it and this pollinates the flower. So in this way pollination occurs, and here the flower itself is doing some sort of sexual deceit. So this is collectively called a sexual deceit. So through this topic, this chapter population interaction is over. Here we are going to study another important topic that's coming under the chapter biodiversity and conservation. There you have studied the causes of biodiversity loss. Today we are going to study how do we conserve biodiversity. There are mainly two main approaches. They are in situ conservation and ex situ conservation. First, we are going to study in situ conservation, or otherwise called on-site. This is the conservation of genetic resources within natural or human-made ecosystem in which they occur. It includes protected areas such as national parks, sanctuaries, biosphere reserves, cultural landscapes, natural monuments, etc. India has 14 biosphere reserves, 90 national parks and 448 wildlife sanctuaries. National parks are strictly reserved for the welfare of the wildlife where private ownership, cultivation, grazing, etc. are prohibited. Example for a national park in Kerala is Iravikulam National Park. About the wildlife sanctuaries. In wildlife sanctuaries, the protection is given only to the animals. Collection of timbers, minor forest product and private ownership are allowed so long as they do not harm the animals. Example for a sanctuary is Periyar Wildlife Sanctuary in Kerala. An example for biosphere reserve is Nilgiri Biosphere Reserves, and these are the areas of land or coastal ecosystem for the conservation and sustainable use. Then comes another type of in situ conservation. They are sacred groves. Sacred groves are the forest fragments which are communally protected based on religious beliefs. Different types of examples of sacred groves are sacred groves in Khasi and Jainta Hills in Meghalaya. Second one, Aravalli Hills of Rajasthan. Third one, Western Ghat regions of Karnataka and Maharashtra. And the fourth one, Sarguja, Chanda and Bastar areas of Madhya Pradesh. These are the various examples of sacred groves. Next comes ex situ conservation, or otherwise called off-site. It is a type of conservation of organisms outside their habitat. Example, genetic resource centers. Second one, zoological parks. Third one, wildlife safari parks. Fourth one, botanical gardens. Fifth one, gene banks. And the last, cryopreservation. These are the different examples for ex situ conservation. Next comes biodiversity hotspot regions. Biodiversity hotspot regions are the regions with very high species richness, high degree of endemism. Endemism means species confined only to a specific region but most threatened. There are 34 hotspots in the world. 3 hotspots cover India's biodiversity region. The 3 hotspot regions in India are Western Ghats and Sri Lanka, Indo-Burma and Himalaya. All hotspots together cover only less than 2% of the Earth land area, but the species richness is extremely high. Protection of hotspot reduced the ongoing extinction by 30%. Next comes the national efforts for the conservation of biodiversity. Suppose if a question is asked for 5 marks, how do we conserve biodiversity? There you have to write this national, international effort for the conservation of biodiversity also, along with the in situ conservation and the ex situ conservation. First summit was Earth Summit that was held at Rio de Janeiro in 1992. And the objectives of the Earth Summit were conservation of biodiversity, sustainable use of biodiversity, and sharing of benefits arising from genetic resources. Second summit was World Summit, which was held at Johannesburg in 2002. The World Summit on Sustainable Development, held in 2002 in Johannesburg, that is in South Africa, 190 countries pledged to reduce the current rate of biodiversity loss. Both the summits are very important, and you have to write these international efforts also along with the how do we conserve biodiversity. Dear children, through this video we have completed the biology portions in this academic year. Thank you.